What's up, y'all? It's your girl QueensteezTV, and I am back with another video. So today, y'all, I'm doing something really different, something that I have not done before. I probably should have already been doing it, but today I'm gonna review and give my opinion on P-Valley. Okay, y'all, P-Valley has it literally going on this season. Like, they are touching on everything, and I am totally here for it. So, y'all, this is episode 5. I know. I didn't review the first 4 episodes, but I'm here for episode 5. And, y'all, everything that I predicted happened. Shout out to Wody. You did that, Wody. But I'm going to get into everything that went down during the episode, y'all. I really like how they had Uncle Clifford narrating it. I mean, y'all, it just was popping. So this episode was called The White Knight. So we all know what a white knight is. The white knight usually comes to rescue someone, and usually that someone is a damsel in distress. Who is our damsel in distress? Miss Mississippi, aka Keyshawn. Y'all, this whole episode, I wanted to I wanted to fight for her, girl. But y'all just stay tuned for the rest of the video, and we gonna get into everything.
I'm so cute. You be dragging on this beat.
So, y'all, the episode opens up. So Uncle Clifford is doing the narration for this episode, and y'all know Uncle Clifford always come through with all the gems. But I also think that he was the perfect person to narrate Mississippi's story, because, you know, like, that's one of his daughters. So, you know, he know what's going on. So Uncle Clifford opens up narrating it, so it pans to the club where they are. So we know that they're on this Dirty Dozens tour, right? Rome is her manager, who I never liked Rome even since, like, the first season, because he always gave me pimp vibes, which, of course, we came to see, you know, him doing what he does, being a pimp. So he opens up, you know, coming to Mississippi, letting her know, like, look, I'm trying to get this wig deal for you, and here goes some of the wigs that they sent us. I'm still working on it for you in the background. Then he throws the loop and tells her, like, but yeah, we get ready to do another 2 weeks of the tour. So she's like, no, we're not. Like, you know, I'm trying to get home to my kids. So we all know what Mississippi is going through in her home life with Derek, and we can't stand him either. Okay, we can't wait to be smoking on that Derek pack. I wanted to fight him too this episode. But she's like, look, no, I need to get home. So he tries to play like this nice, oh, I'm your manager role. So he kind of steps to her like, no, you're going to do what I said. Like I said, we doing the next 2 weeks of this tour. And yeah, I already called Dirk. I already cleared it with him, so you don't have to worry about it, because y'all know Dirk do not be going for all that. And he really don't want her on tour with all of these guys anyway. So while Rome is pressing up on her, you know, he's like, basically, he always saying something slick, and that's what I don't like about him. But he's basically pressing up on her like, look, you know, you gonna do what I said. I already cleared it with your man. Why you trying to run home to your Lord Justin Bieber? Rome, we know you like her a little bit, but, you know, he just always says some little slick, some little snide remarks or whatever. Even though everyone does want her, you know, to get away from Dirk. But, you know, I digress. So it pans to the club where she's performing. You see the guys sitting there. So Big Teak, who is Lord Murder's security, but we found out, you know, what was really going down in episode 4. He's in the club. Murder's in the club. Murder feeling a little type of way because, you know, he wanted to go and perform the song that we all know, that we all love. Cricket-ladder, humpback. So they're like, yo, nobody knows you. Nobody want to hear that. We're in the ATL. So while they sitting there arguing, going back and forth, and it's kind of getting really obvious that Big Teak and Lil Murder got something going on, because they're arguing like a married couple. You know how you give people the side eye, like, Are y'all good? What y'all keep arguing for? So while they sitting there arguing, something comes on the stage and we see welcome to Jocelyn's Cabaret. Our girl Jocelyn comes out like the fairy godmother, flying all over the club, letting the girls know what's good. She is the queen of the scrippers. So we had some outdoor love and hip hop people in there. Who was it? Jessica Dime, Miami Tip, and somebody named Gigi. Y'all, so Jocelyn is letting them know, like, we the old girls of the game, but now we gotta give it up to the new girls. And this one right here is popping, okay? So she introduced Mississippi. Miss Mississippi come out. She got her blonde wig on, got her blonde hair on, her outfit. She's out there killing it. So back to the, the blonde hair that she had on. She's not really comfortable with that, but when Mississippi gets on stage, she totally transforms. Like, she's feeling this. But what we really know deep down inside is she's not comfortable wearing the blonde hair, because she's like, somebody with my skin complexion shouldn't be wearing blonde hair. So then it kind of flashes back to the past, where we see kind of how, Keyshawn, well, I'm going to be calling her Keyshawn and Mississippi. It's the same person. How, Keyshawn was treated, and how the differences between, being a darker skinned woman versus being a lighter skinned woman, which is something that a lot of times still goes on today. People still argue about stuff like that today. So it flashes back to the past. The first person that we see is Gidget. So we know that Gidget and Keyshawn is, kind of tight. They both worked at the Pink together, but this is just giving us some background on how they met. So Gidget was like, I guess she was the cheer captain at their high school at Chucalissa High. Mississippi was trying out for the cheer squad, so she was trying to land a stunt. She didn't do it. She ended up falling. Gidget was doing a little bit too much for me, but she the cheer captain. She wanted to do, all that and all that. So Keyshawn wasn't feeling, that comfortable or whatever. But who was there to pick her up when she fell? The camera pans. None other than Derek. So at this time, it's like she's a damsel in distress. She just fell. And boom, here he is to save her. Here is her white knight. So Derek picks her up. He let her know, it's going to be okay. Blah, 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 blah. So she goes stand to the side, and who's up next? Miss Alicia, which we find out is her stepsister. So her stepsister is lighter skin, light eyes, and, basically they pan it as, she's popping, she's the it girl, right? And nobody really kind of pays Keyshawn any mind. So the stepsister comes, she like, yeah, I'm coming to do this stunt, So she goes, she land a stunt, everybody is all on her. So Keyshawn is sitting on the bench, of course, because she fell, she's injured, she's holding ice to her head. Well, these little crummy little football players come over, just picking with her, doing what boys do. She's minding her business, doing what boys do. So the boy talking junk to her. So he end up telling her, like, look, you better get out the sun, because you already look like a burnt chicken nugget. What? Don't play with her. So, of course, who again comes to her rescue? So Derek comes over there. He like, look, dude, go ahead about your business. Leave her alone. Like, that's not how you talk to no lady. Which, I don't like Derek, but I can agree. Okay? I can agree. So, of course, the boy, because he with his homeboys, he with the football team, he like, man, you better go ahead. Go ahead, bring it on. He like, what you going to do? Cheer me to death? Then a boy takes it a step further and spit on Derek. And at that time, Derek did exactly what he should have did. He beat him down to the ground, baby. So his friends tried to jump in. He was pop, pop. He was serving them uppercuts, all that. I mean, he was beating the mess out of him. But I ain't gonna lie, Derek did what needed to be done, because, yeah, like, don't nobody play that. Like, you gonna spit on somebody? Prepare to meet your maker. You go to spit. Prepare to meet your maker. That's all I gotta say. So after all of this goes down, the next scene pans to her being in the hallway checking the little list to see if she made the team. Of course, Keyshawn didn't make the team, but her stepsister did. So here she is again. She's sad. She's down about not making the team. Who shows up again? Derek. Now, one thing that I did like was how they showed how the school was really segregated. So you basically had the black students on their side and the white students was on this side. And sometimes for sports, you know, they coexisted as usual. So again, here comes Derek to save her when she's down. She's upset about not making the team. He's like, you know, it's okay. We can do it next year. So she's like, oh, how we gonna do it next year if we graduate? You know, all this. So while they out there talking, the 3 boys from the football team come out and they're mad, of course, because they got suspended. Now, everybody was in the fight. Derek and the 3 football players. The 3 football players got suspended. Derek did not. So I feel like that right there played onto the, you know, black students being treated one way and the white students being treated another way. Because in all actuality and all fairness, now granted, even though the boys spit on him and that was not right, if they was going to suspend people, everybody should have been suspended, right? That's, to me, that would have just been fair. Everybody would have been suspended. So when the boys got suspended, they could not play nor participate in their winter, what was it, like the winter jubilee? I'm gonna call it jubilee because this is the South. Or their winter prom homecoming. It was something like that. It was like a dance or whatever. So Derek was just like, yeah, they can't go to the dance. So it pans back to Keyshawn being home. Now, the thing that I found was so crazy, I really thought like Mississippi was gonna come from like, you know, humble beginnings. Well, come to find out, she live in a mansion. So Mississippi's dad is actually like really well off. But when we get to the inside, she got this stepmother. And as soon as I seen who the stepmother was, I said, she getting ready to get on my nerves because every movie she in, that lady gets on my nerves. I don't even know her name, but she's a good actor because she's very good at getting on people's nerves. She gets on mine. So I really like how they kept this like towards a fairy tale thing. Because as soon as I seen the stepmother and her big loud mouth, I was like, oh my goodness, it's giving Cinderella, okay? They had Mississippi in there doing the girl's hair and all of this stuff like she is the maid. Miss, do your kids' hair yourself? Like, what's wrong with you? So the stepmother is shading her, you know, doing the most. And my thinking is, I'm like, where's her father at? And that's another thing that I like that they played on was like the whole idea around step parents. Like, a lot of people be letting their spouses play with their children, like, and I do not like that. So I wasn't feeling her. Like, I wanted to fight her too. I wanted to fight everybody in this episode. So Mississippi is doing the other sister. What was her name? Willona. I don't know her name, but the second sister, she was doing her hair. So, you know, while they was talking, the stepmother was, you know, making little snide remarks like, oh yeah, it's hard out here taking care of 2 girls. Like Keyshawn wasn't standing there. So she was like, you mean you gotta raise 3 girls? And she was like, yeah, I gotta get used to saying that number. Like, I didn't like that at all, how she was carrying her. I didn't like that. But while Keyshawn is curling this girl hair, curling for the girls, she is so flabbergasted that she left the curlers on the sister hair. And baby, she looked down. She said, oh, boo. She took off the whole thing. The whole strand of hair was hanging onto the curlers. So y'all know that stepmama was hot, okay? She started calling her all type of stuff. And she like, you know, you ruined my daughter's hair. You done did this on purpose. Move. Get out the, you know, just doing too much. It was an accident, okay? It was an accident, lady. Relax. So she's like, you know, you done lost this to my Samson and Delilah. So we all know the Bible story of Samson and Delilah and how you get, you know, your strength from your hair. Like, lady, yo, the stepmama was working my nerves overtime. So basically what the stepmother was basically saying that, you know, the hair and them being light skinned, that's what made her daughter beautiful, which we all know. Like India Ivory all told us, I am not my hair, I am not this. Okay, we're not our hair, we are not our skin. Like, lady. So the next time that we see all the girls together, they sitting at lunch. So Miss Alicia come through, you know, like she get my milkshake brings all our boys to the yard. So she just walking through like she owns the place. You know, she like, So like I said, this dance was coming up and everybody was asking Alicia to go. Okay. So Miss Alicia is like, no, ain't going with you, ain't going with you, ain't going with you. So she gets down to the table with all the girls and they start talking. So we get a little bit of more insight on the Christmas dances. And guess what? The school dances are segregated. So the black kids have one dance and the white kids have another dance. So the little sister goes on to explain, like, you know how it is, like you hear rumors like this what happened at the other one, this what happened at the other one. So the little sister goes on and she's like, yeah, we heard at the white ball that, you know, they be making blood sacrifices and all that stuff. But hey, let's not forget, this is the South, so, you know, it's not impossible for them to hear these rumors. So the older sister, Alicia, is like, girl, where are you getting this from? It sounds like you are, you know, making this stuff up. So the little sister is like, I got it from the 3rd floor bathroom, where I also got that you got the best got 3000 in the whole school. So the sister is like... So them two start bickering and all that, and Mississippi, you know, she got a little snicker because that's taking the attention off of her. They not picking with her. You know, it's more so the stepmom that's messing with her, but, you know, take it off of her. So she turn around, and who's giving her the googly eyes right back? Here we go. Derek, yet again. So after the day is over, Miss Mississippi, she's walking home from school, and she gets caught in the rain. Well, again, who comes? Nobody but her white knight, Derek, comes in his, what he drive, a Prius? I forgot what he said, he drove a Prius. It's something like that. But here he comes again with his chariot, and he like, oh, get in. So they get in, they go to the diner, they sharing a plate of french fries. And who is their waitress? Miss Patrice Woodbine, Miss where the money reside, okay? The money wasn't reside in back then, but Miss Patrice come through and she like, you know, y'all need anything else? She like, you can give me another plate of fries. So Patrice like, is he paying for it? Okay, because one thing about Miss Patrice Woodbine, she gonna get that money, baby. So Patrice asked him, like, you know, are you paying for this date, sir? Because he best to be paying. Patrice like, you know, you come up in here with this white man, girl. He got the coins, he better be paying. So he looking all dumb, like, I ain't paying. So Mississippi is like, no, this ain't no date. So they start talking, and as they're talking, she realized that he had a bruise on his face. So she like, you know, what happened? So he lies, of course, and he says that it happened in a cheerleading accident. So they talk some more. She happens, you know, to pan around the room. She looked to see that, you know, it's all these black people, all these black couples. And she asked him, like, you know, if you were to take me on a date, where would you take me? So he tell her where she would take her. And Mississippi question was, you know, that's cool and all that you would take me on a date, but would you take me home? That's the golden question. And of course, he changes the subject because, like, we know and like she knows deep down inside, the answer is no. Hell no, he would not take you home. That would not even fly. So it pans back to the house where the girls are setting up, you know, the little decoration. So Alicia asked her mom, like, you know, how did you meet, what's her father? Is her father named John, David? I forgot Mississippi father name. Whatever his name is, we can call him David, because I don't remember his name. So she's like, you know, how did you meet David? So she like, girl, you know, I'm decorating my house for my man. And she like, I ain't do nothing to meet him. I just met him serving him a drink on the plane. And then I got all this. So Mississippi comes out and she's like, You forgot the part where you served his wife a drink on the plane first, okay? Then you serve him. So she's giving her tell the full story. So, of course, you know, most kids feel some type of way, especially, you know, when they feel like one of their parents cheated on the other parents, and now you have to endure, you know, their new person or new spouse or girlfriend, and they live there and they treat you some type of way. Like, it's a bit much. So that was already some tension there. So the stepmama goes off. Like, she goes off to the point that she picks up the food on the table and throws it on her. When I say it would have went down in there, it would have went down in there. But it did go down, okay? Mississippi threw the stuff back on her. She told her, look, girl, you got me effed up. Don't play with me. So Mississippi was like, look, I might be a little bougie and you might got me messed up, but I will get the pew, pew, pew on you. Next thing we see Mississippi is sitting up in her room. She's sitting up in her room. She said, so you can just hear the stepmama yelling and going crazy. So I'm just going to assume that David, who this is what I named Mississippi for because I don't remember what his name was, that she's talking to him, because you can hear her say, well, she said she's going to put a Beretta out on me. You know, she's down there carrying on, doing the most. After this thing, it pans back to the club. So here we are back in the club. Mississippi done performed. She just shut the house down. Here we get Miss Jocelyn Hernandez, baby. So Jocelyn come up to her. She give her a little advice. You know, she let her know, I can see that you gonna make it because you are just like me. And look at me. I made it to the top. Y'all, Jocelyn be talking like she's a pimp. The only thing that I like that was really getting to me was they just kept calling her the B-word, B-word. Everything was, bitch, you gonna do this and B, you gonna do this and like, it was like, y'all don't have to call a girl a B before you say everything. I was like, god damn. So Jocelyn, you know, after she get finished talking to her like she the furry stripper godmother who's coming to save her, Jocelyn gives her I guess it was a card or was it her room key? I think it was a card. But basically she just invited her, you know, back to her hotel or whatever, because she said, you know, she wanted to chop it up from one boss to another boss. Back to the past, and now today is the night of the ball. So it's basically like Cinderella. So David is back home, right? So the stepmother's two kids are dressed for the ball and this and that. So you see David, which is Mississippi father, behind the camera lens, and he just has this like weird energy where he's like, and then Mississippi is sitting there eating a bowl of cereal, just looking at them, just all, you know, just all helpless, which that was super messed up. Like, y'all not even gonna get her a dress or nothing to go to the ball, like, what? And the father's just letting this go down, like, I wanted to fight him too, like, what? So anyway, he's like, I mean, you could just see that it was just like this disgusting urge with the father that he tells Mississippi, like, can you take a picture of us? So he runs and goes next to Alicia, and he's, you know, just all up on her very inappropriately, and you can see that Alicia is uncomfortable. So that also puts it in your head and make you think, like, is he doing something to her, because she's very uncomfortable. So Mississippi also peeps this behind the camera lens, and it's just like very cringe. But of course, the mother, who you so worried about everything else and your big house and all this, you're not even watching, you know, your kid and who you got your kid around, okay? So while all this is going on, ding dong, the stepmother's like, oh, that must be the chauffeur. Ain't the chauffeur. Derek comes through with Mississippi whole outfit, and he like, boo, get ready. I'm taking you to the ball, okay? So they arrive at the ball, so Mississippi ends up going to the whites only ball. Well, I ain't gonna say whites only because she was there, but you get what I'm saying, to the ball that was separate for the white children, and then the black kids were at the other ball. So I like that they kept panning back and forth to show you the differences of what was going on at each ball. So Derek and her having a good time, but it's just this lady that is hovering over the two of them, and that's just kind of looking like, not going down. Whatever you think is going down is not going down. So after the ball is over, they leave out. So Mississippi is just making a joke. She like, dang, that lady was, all up on it. And that's when Dirk reveals, yeah, that's my mom. So Mississippi is like, oh, she's like, I didn't mean anything by it. But this is also when they get to talking, and Dirk reveals that his dad be stomping a mud hole in him. So he's like, yeah, my mom be fussing and doing all this, but she's all bark and no bite. He's like, my dad, on the other hand, he is all bite and makes you wish that you had the bark. So she reveals to him that, he reveals to her that, basically all these bruises that you see me with is from my dad wailing on me. It's not from cheerleading. So y'all, it started doing something very, very rare. It started snowing in Mississippi. So this paints out the very fairy tale scene. They have this beautiful night together. Then, bam, they're up in the car. So before they get in the car, Dirk is telling her like, girl, we know it's snowing, but come on, I want to get you home at a decent hour. I don't want your dad saying anything to me. Well, when they in the back seat of the car, Dirk is like, I ain't never did this before. So yeah, y'all can already imagine what went down. Dirk became a man that night. And then Mississippi goes home. So, of course, she missed her curfew, because they was out doing some things in the back seat of the car. She walks in, she goes to sneak up the steps, and you hear a cigarette lighter. So, the stepmama sitting there on the couch, just being Eveline that she is. So, she's like, oh, I ain't gonna tell your dad you made it in. So she kept making, little comments about stuff. And she tells her, well, be careful about being a man's Barbie doll. She's like, because everything that you got looked like it was custom made for you. So, of course, Mississippi is not listening to her because, what they say in life, sometimes it be the right message, but from the wrong messenger, so you can't really receive it. What the stepmom was saying to her was good information, but it was like, it's from you. The girl wasn't going to receive it. But she was sitting down there looking like a sad puppy because I'm going to assume that David had gone on to another woman, because it seemed like he was always out of town or business or doing something that he ain't had no business doing. So he was not to be trusted. So I guess she was down there in her feelings. And her two daughters, who she thought was the cream of the crop, was not home yet from the prom. So we can only imagine what they were doing, because they was out scrubbing the ground. So after that, it pans back to the present where Mississippi, Big T, all the guys are in the room, and she got all her money that she made for the night, and they're in the room chopping up. Mississippi is really letting loose. She in there drinking a little drink. She in there smoking a little smoke. And of course, Big T and Lil Murder get the argument again. Like they always do. They just get the argument again. So y'all know how sometimes you can telepathically communicate with somebody. So while they're arguing, it's like I said, it's giving old married couple. So Mississippi kind of look at Wody, and you see the caption come on the screen like, is these dudes? And Wody looking back at her like, yeah. So you can see the Kevin saying, yeah, I think there is, something is going on. But who else coming in? Always coming in to ruin the moment. Rome. So remember they had been playing this game, the murder game, where everybody, if somebody look at you, you supposed to stop and die. So I knew that it was a big death coming because mostly everybody, no, all of them had died except for Mississippi and Rome from the game. So in this episode, we get to see Mississippi playing the game. So it's supposed to be when somebody look at you, you supposed to go and fall out, right? So she ends up falling out in this episode. So I was like, uh-oh. I said, I feel like something is coming, okay? So Rome comes in the room. He's making a little snide remarks. So he says something to Lord Murder and Big Teak about them laying on their back. So that made me scratch my head. I was like, we know that everybody is kind of sort of suspicious about, Lord Murder. The only person who knows for sure about Lord Murder is Mississippi because, of course, she know that he was messing with Uncle Clifford. The only person that was like kinda, sorta, he know, but he don't have confirmation, but you know how when you know something you know, is Wardy. Because remember in the last episode when Keyshawn was saying she had her products, her eyelashes, when they were sitting in the parking lot, Wardy was like, yeah, I guess we should get you some lashes too. We can call yours Uncle Murder. Because remember, Wardy always had the suspicion that he was messing with Uncle Clifford. And Wardy, I love Wardy. Is my dude. Wardy kind of remind me of me, because I'm the type of person, when I be knowing something, I don't really be knowing, but I say little stuff to see if you're gonna oblige, like to see if you're gonna give me the answer I need to know. It's like I already know, but I just want to see if you gonna let me know that I know what I know. So after all that, Rome still running his mouth. So basically they get into a little argument about the room keys. So Big T storms off. Of course, Lord Murder goes to follow behind him. Rome leaves out because he think he the big boss Don, like boy bye. And the only people that's left in the room is Mississippi and Wardy. So Wardy kind of lets her know. He was like, that blonde wig, I don't like that. So she was like, what you mean? He was like, I prefer the hair that grows out of your head. So he was just letting her know, like, your natural beauty is enough, baby girl. So the next thing that it pans back to is Keyshawn being 8 months pregnant, laying down on the couch, eating some snacks. So, pregnant woman hormones. So she's, kind of fussing about the onesies that Derek's mom had bought. So Derek, he's like, you need to be grateful that my mom even got them for us. And she was like, Mississippi was just kind of like, yeah, but I asked for this. Y'all know pregnant women want what they want when they want it. It ain't no hard feelings. It's the hormones. But Derek was not trying to hear that. He blew up because he wanted to blame her for everything. He's like, look, I knew I shouldn't have never messed with you. I got put out. My parents, you lucky they even got this because they not even messing with me because I messed with you. He's like, I knew that I shouldn't even mess with the likes of you. And when he said that, I was like, Keyshawn, you already knew what type of time he was on, especially when all that stuff went down with Diamond and he called Diamond you know what. And when she asked him, was like, did you call Diamond a word? And he said no. And she was like, he called Diamond that. He called Diamond that, because I'm pretty sure, girl, he probably refers to you like that when you're not around, maybe if you are around, okay? That's what Derek gives. But anyway, this is the very first time we see that he puts his hands on her. Now, this girl is literally pregnant with his baby, and I'm assuming that they're either, fresh out of high school, so she's probably between 18 and 19. And y'all, that's another thing that I didn't get. How old is Mississippi? Because when I Googled it, I Googled how old is the character of Mississippi in P-Valley, like her character's age. It said that she was in her 30s, which I was like, if she's in her 30s in this show, it doesn't make sense because her child is only 3 years old. So I'm like, she got pregnant by him the night of the prom or the Christmas Jubilee, whatever it was. Then that will only be 3 years ago. So let's just say she graduated at 18. That would make her 21, being a stripper. So I don't know. If y'all know how old Mississippi is in the show, drop down and let me know, because I was like, the math was not mathing. So anyway, he ends up choking her up. And I'm like, damn, if you could do that to a pregnant woman, you don't have no remorse. And then it's not just a pregnant woman. She's pregnant with your child. Like, yo, I told y'all, I wanted to fight this episode. So, of course, Mississippi, she leaves. She got her nightgown. Where do she go? Of course, where anyone would go if you just experienced something that traumatic. She runs home. She bangs on the door. Bang, bang, bang. Evil stepmother comes to the door and she's like, what you want? Now, mind you, y'all, it's pouring down raining. She like, what you want? You ain't coming up in here. And she's like, I just need help. She just needed help. Like, and that woman stood there and turned her pregnant stepchild. And it don't even matter, stepchild, like, girl, what? That's not even your house. She turned her away and was like, I don't want my kids around like the likes of you just because she got pregnant. Miss What? Your daughter is the God queen. And that's like another thing. Oh, I go so deep into this, y'all. People be putting their kids on a pedestal like their kids don't do nothing. Then me having the nerve to treat their partner kids indifferently. Like, yo, I'm telling y'all, yo, this episode, y'all, I might need to. Anybody could get it. So it pans back to the present, and Mississippi is getting dressed. You know, she got her fly threads on, her floss, her little jacket, because she's getting ready to go to the Jocelyn party. So she goes up to Rome's room to see if he's ready. She knock on the door. He ain't ready. So he tell her, like, you know, just hang tight for a minute. He like, you know, the wig deal, you know, that kind of fell through, but I got something better for you. So he pulls out the pleaser heels. Okay, everybody know what the pleaser heels is. They the stripper shoes. So he's like, look, we can just rock with this. And, you know, Mississippi let him know, like, look, yeah, that's cool and all, but, you know, that is a small base of strippers. Because really, your only audience that you're selling to is strippers. She's like, you know, wigs, everybody wear wigs. You know, we really want to get some sure enough revenue from this. So he's like, look, just try it on for me, you know. What I didn't like about this is, yo, Rome be talking to this girl like she's dumb. Mississippi is not dumb the least little bit. And I also think that plays into the whole thing of how people, like, I guess people think just because people strip that they're lesser than a person. And that is, like, I don't like that at all. And that is not, you know, what happened. People are not their jobs. Because sometimes, what did, what's her name say on I Love New York? I mean, not I Love New York, on Flavor Flav. She said, so what? If I had to strip or do what I had to do to feed my children, I do it proudly. Like, people be trying to belittle people for the stuff that they had to do. Like, everybody ain't had to hustle or make it do what they had to do at one point or another. Like, so I don't like that. Like, he be talking to her all crazy. So, anyway, so he like, look, just try the shoes and, yeah, let me see how I look with your floss. So, she goes into the bathroom. She put it on. She put on the floss to make sure she looking good for Jocelyn. Well, Rome comes in the bathroom with his little Versace robe busted open with a camera on. Now, number one, why would you do that? You already know how dark it is. So I'm like, okay, it's already some ulterior motives going on like this, because you know how her baby daddy is, and you already know he would put the smack down on her. So she was like, you know, like, yo, what are you doing? Like, this is not cool. Like, put that up. Put that up. So he gets to, like, talking to her all crazy, belittling her, let her know, like, look, you just a stripper B. You ain't got nothing going on. You go out here and you get naked for all these other people, so you might as well do it for me. Look at all the stuff I've been doing for you. I'm the one who feed and get you. I mean, he's going, like, straight Ike Turner on her. Like, straight, like, I made you and you ain't nothing without me. Mom, please, okay? So they ended up, you know, going to the room. So he like, look, I know, he said, all that stuff that you got going on, you with Lord Murder and all that, I seen what happened when you kissed him. He ain't like that. He like, and I already know what he like. So she like, what you mean? You ain't got no proof? That's when he does the big reveal. He said, oh, but I do have proof. He said, and everything that y'all got going on, y'all out here faking, acting like y'all a couple, I will blow that up. He turns around on the camera, and we can only assume as the audience, but he's showing her a video of Lil Murder and Big Teak getting in it. So y'all know that he's been the one that's been getting the rooms for everybody. So I guess he set up a candid cam or some type of hidden cam in the room, and that's making me wonder, what else does he have footage of? Because we know he likes in Mississippi, so he could have set a camera in her room. He could have her naked. Like, he could have anything, because he's just very sneaky, and he do drugs, so you cannot trust you know what. Of course, Keyshawn is afraid, which any woman would be afraid. Like, you in there with a man, he's all aggressive. She's already been abused. She go through a lot of things in her life already, so she's afraid, as anyone would be. Then the next thing is giving Ebony in the Players Club. Like, Rome just straight is like, you got what I want, and I'm going to take what I want. So, they go through that. She fight them off, you know. She's all exposed, so she runs out of the hotel, out of his hotel room, and she runs down to Woody's room. Of course, Woody opens the door, and he like, yo, what is going on? So she come in there, she let him know what happened. She's like, look, I went to his room to go to Jocelyn. This is what he just did to me. You know, he tried to take advantage of me. He tried to force himself on me. And he knows about Law murder. So Woody still acting like he like what he know about Law murder. Because, I mean, he has an inkling of what he knows, but Woody really doesn't know. He suspects it, but he doesn't know. So Keyshawn is like, he knows everything. And he has a video. Now that right there, the video part is what the ante, because Woody is not only Murder's manager, that's still his friend, right? So even though you might know something or suspect something about your friend, I still get from Woody that that's not going to change the relationship that he has with Murder. But also, it's kind of like, yeah, I can joke you, I can do all this, but ain't no outsider going to come and play with you like that. So Woody is straight like, oh, word, say no more, heard you. So of course, after all this went down, Mississippi has quit the tour. She like, I don't care. There will be no second half of the Dirty Dozen tour. She didn't want to do it anyway, but I wouldn't stay on no tour with all them dudes anyway. Like, yeah, no, not gonna happen. So the next thing, she goes home. So we got Dirk in there. He acting like he's rocking the baby and doing all of this. So he's like, oh, mommy's home, da 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 da. So of course, Keyshawn goes in, and I found it super weird that she's speaking to her baby. She like, oh, hey, to the 3-year-old, and he's sitting there literally when she said, hey, when she touched him, he busts out crying, like in this loud cry. So I'm thinking in my head, of course, as while I'm watching, I'm like, why is he crying? I'm like, nah, I know she ain't been gone long enough. You know how sometimes when you don't see your kid for a long time, you know, you might be on vacation, they might act funny because they been with grandma for a little while, or their other parent, you know, they might be shading you a little bit. You know how kids are very shady. So I'm like, why the little boy busting out crying? I'm like, she only been gone for about a week or so. So I'm like, damn, he act like he don't even know his mother. So Dirk not saying nothing. So she like, what's going on, babe? She touch him again. He's screaming. So she's like, are you okay? So Dirk is kind of brushing off. He like, yeah, he okay. So as any mother, a mother knows. So she takes him to the doctor. What do we find out at the doctor's? The little boy has a dislocated elbow. So the first thing, I'm like, dang, you're beating the mess out of a freaking 3-year-old? So Mississippi is like, asking the doctor, like, hold up, how did that happen? So the doctor's like, yeah, you know, kids, accidents happen, not thinking nothing of it. But when she goes to turn the baby around, his shirt lifted up a little bit. The nurse sees a big bruise on his back. So the nurse is like, hey, doc, this baby is, you know, being bruised. So I'm pretty sure, you know, they did an examination and all of this stuff. Now, once I saw that, I was like, you know what? I said, Dirk might be the cause, and this is a prediction. He might be the cause of that girl losing her children. Because you know how stuff is still down there, even though it's like, you know, equal, it's still kind of segregated. And from this town in Chucalissa, we see that the white groups, or the majority of the citizens there, kind of have the upper hand. So after they leave the doctors, Keyshawn comes back in the house, and she's like, you know, what happened? So Dirk is playing it off, acting like he don't hear her and doing that stuff. So she's like, yo, why you ain't ask me what the doctor say? So he like, I mean, yeah, just being all dumb. So she's like, so you're not gonna ask me what the doctor said was wrong with him? No, he wasn't gonna ask you what the doctor said because he already know what was wrong with him because he did it. No, he wasn't gonna ask. So then he's like, what did the doctor say? So she's like, yeah, my baby had a dislocated elbow and bruises all over him. She's like, yo, he's only 3 years old. Why are you beating the crap out of my baby? Like, so Dark goes on. He's like, you haven't been here with these kids. They're driving me insane. That made me mad. But then I was like, you know what? All fathers act like they don't know what to do. You could be like, hey, I'm running to the gas station. They act like they don't know what to do. When you leave, they act like they don't know what to give the kids a bath for. They don't know what to feed the kids. They just act like they just don't know how to function when mommy's not there. So Dark goes on in this tangent like, okay, well, these kids have been driving me insane. And Mississippi is like, okay, well, again, they're babies and don't put your hands on my kids as she should. Like, don't do that. They're kids. So he like, look, my father beat me so I can beat my kids. Passing down trauma. Like, that happens all the time. People like, I ain't died from it, so I'm going to do it to my kids instead of working to break the cycle. So she tell him like, look, I don't got nothing to do with what your father did to you. Don't put your hands on mine. Well, we already know Dark did not take that too kind. Dark is just doing ultimate manipulation because he's mad because she's mad that he's beating on their small children. Like, what? So she let him know, like, look, I'm tired of this. You ain't working. I'm the only one out here getting it, okay? And I'm tired of taking care of my 3 kids, okay? She's like, the 2 babies and you. Well, when she said that, he went berserk. So at this point, the children are in the background screaming. She's screaming. I mean, he is wailing on her, okay? He drags her from one room to the other room, like tearing her up the whole way. I mean, as I was watching this scene, I was like, yo, why she don't have a grandmother named Mabel? Because I'm like, Dark would have got whooped. Like, Dark would have got handled. I'm like, dang, she ain't got no family. Like, she should have really let Diamond do him. She should have let Diamond do him. So he pulls her all up into the kitchen where he was ironing his uniform because he was sitting there wanting her to kiss so much. Talking about, I ain't got an interview. So he pulls the iron. He got her up on the wall and just taking the iron. And I'm watching like, I know he ain't about to try to do her like Penny on Good Times. I said, now he's trying to do her like Penny on Good Times. Like, what? So she's like, not my face. You can do it wherever you want, but not my face. So then Uncle Clifford is still like, it pays back when Uncle Clifford let her know, this your money maker, okay? You don't let no man beat up on your face. So she's begging him. The point that's crazy about this whole scene and him with the job, interviewing, all this stuff is the reason why he can't get no job is from his parents. His parents are blackballing him because his parents are well off as well and they could help him. He don't have to be in a predicament, but his parents are mad because he's with, of course, this black woman and have kids by her. So that's why he can't get no job. Because ain't nobody gonna hire him in town because I'm pretty sure everyone in the town knows his parents. So that's super cruddy that his parents is even doing that to him. Like, yeah, granted, you might not agree with his lifestyle or whatever, but like, damn, you ain't even gonna let the man get a job at the hardware store or nothing. Like, that's very cruddy. So everybody just got like their own set of drama, but Mississippi, girl, we wanted to fight with you, but that's what Uncle Clifford said. He like, Keyshawn draw you in so much that make you want to fight for her, but she ain't gonna be done until she good and tired. So after that super intense scene, here come my here come my boy Woody, and I'm like, I'm like, something is about to go down. So Woody knocks on the hotel room door. Open the door, he in Rome room, right? So he tell him like, look, man, I need to holler at you. Rome is just a straight freakazoid. He got all of this mess and riffraff going on in the background, okay? So he is just so rude. It's some girls in there, doing their thing. And he like, look, bees, get the F out. We got some boss talk to do. So, listen, y'all, I told my homegirl in the last episode, in 4, I was like, yo, I said, Woody is going to give Rome a burn bag. I said, because remember, Woody heard Rome talking mess about him and Lord Murder in the last episode when he was outside with Mississippi and was like, look, I'm going to make Big Teak leave. They got to go. They messing us up. Woody was standing behind the little thing. He didn't even know he was out there. Woody heard everything. Woody is just like me. I'm making a list, checking it twice, and when you least expect it, I'm going to get you. So he goes in there. He like, look, boss talk, we need to sit down. So he tell him like, hey, but your little party gift. So I'm like, I knew it. I called my homegirl. I was like, girl, I told you. So of course, Rome take it. He like, yeah. So he poured out on the table, and he set it up nice for him, and then he like, no, you go ahead and do it first, because he got an inkling in his mind like, nah, he might be trying to do something to me. Now, Rome, that's where you went left, because you should have stuck with your first instinct, dummy. So Woody was smart because he already had some sugar down on the table. So Woody was like, oh, you want me to take it? He was like, all right, no problem. He put his hand down and he used one of the sugar sticks that was already laid, and not one of the new sugar sticks that Rome had just put down. So he took one of the old sugar sticks and was like, yep, good as new. Now, Rome, if you wasn't already eating sugar sticks, then you would have caught that, but you didn't. So Rome, he take one sugar stick. He said, he like, so yeah, what you want to talk about? So Woody just talking to him. He just gaming him. So Rome, he take one sugar stick. He got to get him another one. So when he go do the second sugar stick, he start coughing. So this when Woody is like, he like, you good? He like, man, I can't. It's getting a little rough. So that's when Woody is like, okay, let's get down to the get down. He like, what happened with you and Keyshawn? He like, nothing. I don't know why she don't want to do the tour no more. So he like, look, I ain't here to play with you, because Woody already know you ain't got that much time left. So let's just get to the nitty gritty. He was like, look, Keyshawn already told me everything. She let me know what happened, but where's that tape? So he like, man, what you talking about? I don't know about no tape. I don't about no tape. He like, yo, where the tape at? I know you got the tape. What's good? Well, at this point, he's like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Now, yo, Katori Hall be putting all the stuff in there. So the part when he kept saying, I can't breathe. Remember throughout the last 2 episodes when all the unrest had broke out and all that, Rome kept saying like all of these very, very ignorant things. So I felt like they made it very significant for him to be the one on the other end of the spectrum, sitting there fighting for his life, saying, I can't breathe, when he said so many negative things about, the people whose lives were taken, by the police. So I was like, yo, they be putting the gems in this show. So while he sit there, Woody let him know, like, look, how would you like to be buried? So that's when it clicked to him, like, yo, this man just gave me a burn bag. So he's already realizing, like, he in his last moments, of course, he ain't giving up where the tape is, but Woody is like, letting him know, he's like, he like, I'm gonna just slow talk you, till you done. So he let him know, this what I gave you, so you already know it's over for you. I ain't gonna say what he gave him. We already know what gave, but it's always in the news what he gave him. Y'all can figure out what he gave him. And basically he said, some people, don't have the luxury of having someone help them to the other side. He said, we just gonna call this a soft S word, right? Woody gets up, he walks away, and we see in the background, Rome is and bam, he falls out. So then Rome, it was the last person in, remember they was playing the murder game? Rome is the last person who he never played, but his murder was his actual death. And y'all, Woody walks out. The people in the party, they're like, oh my goodness, somebody call an ambulance. But literally, Woody stayed with him until like the very last to make sure that even when the ambulance got there, it was nothing that they could do. He literally walked him to the other side. So it pans back to Uncle Clifford is still doing the narration, and Uncle Clifford, he gives a whole breakdown. He let us know your Prince Charming can turn into a dragon, okay? He says, your loyal sidekick can turn into an angel of death. He said, and the damsel in distress might mess around and be their own savior, honey. So with that being said, with that last line, and being that they gave us the whole backstory of Mississippi, for the next episode, I think that Mississippi is gonna go postal on Derek. I think Derek might be next because she tired of him beating on her. I think her children is gonna be like, where she draw the line? Like, you know what? Not my kids. You can do what you want to me, but don't do it to my kids. And also remember that in the first season, when the girls at the bank found out that, she was getting hit on, remember Autumn Night gave her the gat, get the gat. So she still has the gat that Autumn gave her. So I do think in the next episode that we're definitely, something is going to happen with Mississippi and Derek. Hopefully Derek don't do nothing or get the best of her. Hopefully, she found her strength. But that's all I got, y'all. I hope that y'all like this. This is the first time that I've ever done a review for a show. Let me know if you like it. Drop down in the comments. And yeah, maybe I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.